Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. So JT Melek. So funny story. Kind of going back, late last year, my patrons were going crazy over JT Melek. Judge, have you tried JT Melek? It's the best whiskey since sliced bread. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. But hey, Judge, it's rice whiskey. I was like, what? It's what? They're like, it's rice whiskey. So I had never had it at that point. Fast forward, I had a couple patrons. They sent me, samples, various different single barrels from different groups, either YouTube or Facebook groups and so forth. And I've always loved them. I was like, wow, this is amazing. So really excited. So tomorrow, so today's not going to be an official true review. I'm just going to go ahead and pop these bad boys, dive into them very high level. And the reason why is tomorrow we have on someone actually who represents JT Melek, Mia, who's part of the family. So we're going to dive into everything you want to know tomorrow night on the live stream with Mia from JT Melek. Cool? All right. So I'm excited because I've had, like I said, numerous different single barrels that a lot of my patrons have sent in. My buddy Dan from Ohio, Dan Hyatt, sent me one. My buddy Gene, locally from the Delaware Bourbon Society, he sent me a cask strength single barrel in, but I've never had this single barrel, which I recently just purchased from Bourbon Outfitters, and then I've never had their small batch before. So let's go ahead and pop these bad boys open, and again, we're going to dive into everything tomorrow night with Mia. All right, from JT Melek. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these open real quick, and just pour these bad boys, let them air out a little bit. All right, so what do I know about JT Melek? And I'm kind of keeping this very high level just so we can have a little bit of fun tomorrow night. The brand, the distillery, they are based out of Louisiana. Gotta love Louisiana. An amazing state. Primarily, right now, they have the small batch and then they have their cask strength. And the cask strength is typically single barrels that are sold either through Bourbon Outfitters or obviously various different groups do barrel picks, right? So, like I said, I heard about JT Melek from my patrons. I know my good friends Trent and Kurt over at SLB Drinks. Shout out to those guys, by the way. I know one of these was their top whiskey of last year, like from one of the categories. So I was like, all right, I really got to try JT Melek. So here we are, folks. I'm excited, though, to try both of these. So, truly rice whiskey, yes. So, it's not bourbon. It's not a rye. It's truly rice whiskey. But when I had them, the funny part is it truly does taste like a bourbon, right? It's very bourbon-ish, if you will, meaning that all the samples I've tried had various different types of, traditional bourbon notes, maple syrup, brown sugar. Obviously the whiskey does age in oak barrels, so of course it gets a lot of oak as well. So it resembles very much a bourbon experience, but in a slightly different way. What I've noticed, it'll be interesting to try both of these. Both of them, the ones I've tried before, all three I think it has been, the various single barrels, they've always been a little bit more on the sweeter side. So a lot more notes like maple syrup notes, which you do get in bourbon a little bit here and there, but not always. But that's what I noticed is like the key difference of a traditional rice whiskey then aged in oak barrels for whatever 4 or 5 years versus like a standard bourbon. That's like the key difference from what I've seen thus far. But we're gonna dive into these real quick, high level. So this one is their small batch. It says here on the front, barrel age 4 years, and this one is 96 proof. And then I have this single barrel cask strength hand selected by the Whiskey Idiots. I love that. Barrel age 4 years, and this one is 118.1 proof, single barrel cask strength. I will give JT Melek credit. When you look at the bottle design, this is a very cool bottle design, very sleek, very different. It's not your traditional barrel or bottle rather that you see most other companies use. So I got to give them credit for at least kind of changing it up a little bit and not going with the standard bottle. So nice job there, JT Melek. Nice job. All right, let's dive into these super quick high level. Just get into these real quick. Yeah, see that nose very much reminds me of the sample I've had before. Again, I've never had the small batch before. I've only had single barrels that have been cask strength. So very interested to try the small batch at 96. Yeah, 96 proof. Very interested to try this. Aged 4 years, so not bad. But on the nose, I do get a ton of it's almost like a grainy type of a grainy type of like a maple syrup note kind of combined together. Very nice though, not bad at all. All right, cheers. Looking forward to tomorrow night with JT Melek on the channel. Yep, that's exactly it. It's interesting. It has like that kind of grainy, earthy kind of a note, but then it's mixing with like that maple syrup kind of a note as well. So that combination is very unique. Definitely similar in many ways to like a traditional bourbon, but different at the same time. I got to get a little bit more because I actually like that a lot. Damn. 96 proof. Nice and clean. Nice crisp. Sweet as well. I like that. At 96 proof, it's clean. It's very bold in the at the end of the palate, kind of going down. You definitely feel like that. Well, traditionally you would say the Kentucky hug, but in this case, the Louisiana hug. That's nice. That's really nice, especially at 96 proof. That probably even sips closer to like maybe 100, 102 proof, if you will. Does not sip like it's in the 90s. I like that by itself. All right, now we're moving over to the big boy. Woo! Single barrel, cask strength, 118.1 proof. I am excited about this one. Every other cask strength single barrel of JT Melek that I've tried from my patrons, again, they were all phenomenal, and I mean phenomenal. So I'm really excited about this one. So tomorrow night when we have Mia on, we're gonna have some giveaways. So make sure you check us out tomorrow night on the live stream. It's gonna be a blast for sure. All right, and that's at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. Here we go, folks. Cheers. Spilled a little bit. Wow. That is bold. I like that. I like the intensity of the whiskey. It's very much, you get a ton. It's very maple syrup forward with a good bit of like oak and almost like a subtle note of like a hint of like cinnamon, almost kind of combined. So you have like a very soft cinnamon, a ton of maple syrup, and a good bit of oak. I always wonder how much like does that Louisiana heat kind of change the whiskey itself, right? Compared to like, you know, any other distillery. That is quite delicious. Wow, this is good. This is really, really good. Rice whiskey. See? JT Melek is changing the game. I love that. We need a little change in the whiskey world. And here we go, some rice whiskey. Let me get a little bit more. Cheers again, everyone. Wow. That's so bold in the mouth. All of that oak, maple syrup, and a smidge of like cinnamon. It's all just wrapped up quite well together. If you would have told me that rice whiskey tasted like this, I would have told you flat out you're going crazy. No way possible. But here I am here to say, I'll give you a judgment right now. Both of these are buys. That is flat out amazing. It does not taste like it's aged 4 years. To me, there's so much great oak in there. It almost tastes like it's aged like 7 or 8 years. For a 4-year rice whiskey, flat out amazing. Can't wait to have Mia on and learn a little bit more about JT Melek tomorrow. Hey friends, until the next time, peace, cheers, most important, salute, take care, see you guys.